um, thinking about the word patriarch and then parent, which are words that are associated when it comes to letters in the word, and parenthesis, thesis, uh, and I was thinking about maybe um, uh, earlier on, and also at the time when the Bible was written, this masculinum and femininum um, could have been more blurred, and meaning that a patriarch, if that was derived from Cleopatra, patriarch, who was a woman, uh, then and then parent from that, and that could be that word included both masculine and feminine um, characteristics or qualities, and that when looking through a video about what he God is, uh, there are these different numbers of, for example, two, and then duk duk 12 or something like that. And I was thinking about that numerologically, and it made kind of sense. And what I think made sense was when uh, God is the heavenly Father, so He's our Father. But it seems when I look through these numerologically these descriptions of God, then and thinking about the number of Jesus, if that's 888, which it says somewhere on Wikipedia, then that would be six numerologically. Uh, that when I looked at what um, was that number, it made sense that that would be Jesus, because he is the caregiver of orphans. And he says at the time in the Bible that something about what he will do in relation to orphans. He calls people orphans. And then parent, and I think that it can be that God is considered both feminine and masculine, and parent was a word for both father and mother because they became one flesh at the time of when the Bible was written. It's that femininity and masculinity was more about characteristics and qualities more than it was penis and cunt, and about that those physical identification things that we have, or the gender that you can see physically the difference. It could be more like, because I think even things in some languages, I don't know about the Danish language, but I know German, I think there's femininum and masculinum, and that's also about things, uh, what whether it's femininum or masculinum. Um, so that was one of the numbers. I don't remember which one. That was very what I would think about today. I don't know at the time when the Bible was written, but I would think about today as the mother qualities, uh, those parental qualities, and some of them were very what I would think about as more masculine, um, and it's a bit strange thinking. We could think about what would this world look like 2,000 years from now when we think about what has happened just the last 1,000 years, how things have changed, then and then if we then, or people who live in 2,000 years from now, try to put what happened at this time into the context of their time without considering what could have been different, then they will understand it from their points of departure and only looking like 50 years back. That's their reference frame. Then, of, and I can be wrong about this. This is just um, one thing that could be the truth. It could be different from that, but I think it seems it could be true because Cleopatra and patriarch, it's so obvious that I don't know what other word it would be, also because there's parent and parenthesis, and those parentheses could be arms holding something, protecting that, or hands holding a child's head or something like that. The care giving, protecting father that holds the hands around the head or the body of the child, protecting it. And because how I can see that when you make a parenthesis, it's when something, it's a bit nowadays when you write, you put it in a parenthesis to say, well, I'm just saying that, but it's not really a part of the sentence. I just have to include this because it has something to do with how that should be understood, but it's not really a part of the sentence. But I think at that, how does this symbol look? It can look like hands that hold something, and uh, like, or a moon, or something like that. I think, and a question mark, and uh, hmm, yeah, I was thinking about these symbols because a lot of things, a lot of things we take for granted because we were put in this time, and the letters were there, the numbers, everything. We didn't have to invent it, so it's just there. It's always been there, but and we don't think about where does it stem from, and how did it become what it is today? Has it been different? But I do now because I have the time and not much to do. Uh, uh, but I think often it's like that. And when I was a child, uh, I thought a lot about when people thought it was. Uh, some people thought it was stupid to think there was a God, and they would rather explain things naturally, uh, find a natural explanation to why this or that, and not a miracle or something superstitious. And I can understand that. I am also like that, and also I don't. I'm very skeptical towards new religious things, but at the same time, I was like, how? I tried to explain this to people. No one understood. But what I would say was, because they say sometimes in Denmark that it's only people who don't have an education or a low degree of education who believe in God and the Bible and things like that. That's what the studies show. But then I've asked, since I was a child, or I've said, I think it's strange that people live on this earth. They walk around here. There's this, we live on this ball, and I think I've talked about it before, and we're floating around in a big, infinite universe with all these stars that are light years away, and it's dark out there, and we don't know what's out there, and we just, and how it's so strange. It would be strange to think that there's not a creator of this. It's more crazy and more it's more not finding a natural explanation, saying that it's just put, getting it to the level of potato and chips and candy and beer and knocking your head in. I don't know how to in English take it to a low level. Something beer and cheers and break the neighbor's nose or something like that. I don't know how to. In Danish, it would be easier to explain what I mean. That a lot of people in Denmark, at least, live a life that they eat a lot and they're sitting in the couch just watching TV, not really doing much, as little as possible. And I know I do that as well, watch TV and things like that. It's not that I'm better in many ways, and in some ways worse, but it's and I just felt like I was a good person because I said that. Then I don't judge people, but it's that that people want to drag things down to the lowest common. I don't know the word. Okay, common. I think someone will know what I mean, and don't care about how fat do I get, and how this is a body given from birth that there can be sickness, and it can be difficult to take care of it, but it's just strange that people think it's more natural to put a lot of food in your body and get fat and lazy, sitting in the couch watching TV, saying cheers and talking about things that are down to earth, than to wonder why are we here on this universe and floating around in this big infinite space. It's more natural to, but I don't know. I can understand being down to earth, but what are we doing these things for? We do because a long time my brother said, I don't understand people who want a career. I'd rather look at a cornfield, and it makes sense, just as much sense as getting a career. Because why get a career? I would like to earn money and have a good life and be able to buy the things I need for my children, especially. But why do that? Well, it's good after you die, then you leave footprints, and who does that? What's that good for? Why is that great? What's the purpose of that? Why even bother? Because we don't know why we're here. We don't know if we end up in hell afterwards, where we're tortured in eternity, or if there's a heaven, and we don't know if we die and we're just gone in that, like not as a without dreams, and just we don't know, and we can't know because we can think about what we think and why we're here. But a lot of people don't even want bother reading the Bible. I haven't read much of it. It's strange, and not look into history, and I haven't done that either. For a long time I was blocked mentally when it came to history. I could not understand, I could not hear, I could not remember anything. Nothing that I heard. My brother talked a lot about some historical the same ones, the Trojan horse and things like that. And he could tell them the stories again, the history again and again, and it would be new to me because I had forgotten. It's but now when with the focus of language, it's easier for me because I've always been more interested in language than history, and to know why do I want to know about it. Well, that's why. uh, I think it's difficult to explain why. I think it's just as much down to earth in this universe, in space, to wonder about the Bible, language, things like that, just as down to earth and normal as going to work and inside this bubble of normality in the context of society that we've created of what's normal, and go home and eat, sit, watch TV, sleep, up, work, eat, sit, and that uh, wheel of ordinary life. I, I think there's too much judgment because you don't understand the other person's perspective, and then it's easy to judge and say that that's down to earth, doing that. I would like to work as well, but no, but also think about not too much. Not when I don't talk to my children about things like this. It's just because I'm bored. I'd rather go to some uh, summer, what's all these kids activities and things like that. I'd rather do that and work with children, create songs and things like that for children and sing with them and play, teach them music, than spend all my time painting a bit, writing a song, walking around in this. This is my wheel of um, killing time. Uh, yeah, I, yeah. It's just that I wondered why people thought it was strange to and that crazy and that far out to think. Well, could be far out to think that there's a God, or that there's some purpose to life, that there is more than eat, sleep, uh, work, home, eat, sit, and watch TV and things like that. Yeah,